customer. And sometimes I even like the challenge of a customer that's unhappy. You know, what can we do to make that customer come back and be a lifelong customer?
Right.
We've had plenty of customers like that, you know, so that was always fun. That was always fun to me.
Yeah. Like having that, obviously we try not to make mistakes, but we're all gonna make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the key right there, is what you said, is like, how do you handle?
Yeah. How do you make it right?
Welcome back to the Regenhard Report here. We got a special guest, Dylan Woods, which is co-owner of DC Auto Pros. Dylan, I'm excited to have you on here as a similar age, successful entrepreneur. Started literally from the bottom, right? And now you're here. Shout out to Drake. But hey, Drake, your brother. I didn't even think about that. But, you know, the thing is, a lot of people, they see that finish line, they see that success, they don't understand what it took to get there, right? And so today we're going to really dive into that and talk about your journey. So welcome to the podcast. Awesome.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So current events right now, when you guys are listening to this, it's gonna be a little bit later because we record them in advance. I just want to give a huge shout out. Appreciate you guys hosting Real Producers last event. The amount of love and support from everyone that showed up to that event was amazing. So you guys have a beautiful facility. And you know, it's funny because a few people were like, I expected, you know, it being a car detailing kind of place.
More of like a warehouse kind of feel. Yeah.
They're like, I didn't think the bathroom was going to be that nice. And they're like, we had this, we had that. Like, it was really nice. So kudos to you guys.
I was honestly blown away with the amount of effort you guys put into making our places beautiful. You know, when you told me that you weren't going to use our lights, I'm like, you're not going to use our lights. We have beautiful lighting, you know? So no, but I was blown away with the whole event, and I was super, super impressed, and I loved it. I had a great time.
Good. Well, we appreciate it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. People really enjoyed it. Yeah. We come in and we're like, just provide the walls, the door, maybe the bathroom, and we'll handle the rest. Right? Well, good. Well, you know, speaking of that, you know, DC Auto Pros, it's you and your brother, right? Co-owners of DC Auto Pros. What exactly do you guys do?
Yep. So the biggest part of our company, not a lot of people know, is we run detailing departments for dealerships.
Okay.
That was kind of my plan of attack back in 2016 when we first started it, was attack the dealerships. Let's you know, we're not your average detailing company.
Correct.
You know, if you came and said, you know, you want your car cleaned, we typically don't do it.
Right.
But it's more commercial. So we go, you know, there's 5 different dealers here in Naples that we run their detail department.
Gotcha.
They hire us to take care of the Achilles heel of a dealership, essentially.
Yeah. Now, are you actually physically at their dealership most of the time, or is it in your facility?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day. Yep.
What do you think percentage wise? Like, because you still have cars at your shop.
Yeah, so we do, at our shop's completely different. We do paint protection film, ceramic coating, window tint, those kinds of things at our shop. But the actual detailing is at the dealerships every day.
Okay, so what level of percent, like, is it 80% detailing, 20%?
You're probably spot on,
like
actually.
Like that?
Yeah, because we have roughly 45 detailers.
Okay.
Full-time guys every day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
At the dealerships.
Awesome. Did you come out of the womb saying I want to detail cars, or
what? No, I actually didn't want to detail cars. I hated detailing cars, actually.
Yeah.
But I
grew up in the Midwest.
Yeah. Yep. Up in Iowa.
You know, hey, we Midwest people stick together. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm Wisconsin. I'm a little bit more north and cold than you are, but yeah. So, and was your father was military, so you traveled around a little bit, and then you ended up here in Naples. Is that right?
Ended up here in Naples. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when you got down here, did you see that there was a lack of it, or like what first pushed you? Like, hey, was it just the fancy cars? And you're like, someone needs to wash them, or what?
Nobody was really doing it.
Okay.
I didn't want to just clean cars, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a private detail guy. I saw a bigger picture. Nobody really had the intent to hit the dealerships. That wasn't really a thing. So I first started at Airport Kia. They gave me a shot to run their detail department. And
so you actually were employed first, technically.
No, they hired our company. I started a detailing company knowing that I wanted to run detail departments for dealerships.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a strong love for Airport Kia because they gave me a shot with zero resume. I honestly didn't even know how to clean cars. I really didn't. And so I have a
But
strong
what did
love
you have?
work ethic.
Work ethic.
Yeah. I honestly learned that from my dad.
Yeah.
You know, he was working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week at FPL while being in the military and the reserves, and watching him growing up working like that. And he's got, you know, I've got 4 brothers total, or there's 4 of us total.
Yeah.
And, you know, watching him work that hard to,
Right.
you know, sometimes I get a little emotional talking about it, but,
Oh yeah.
I got that from him.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, though, is I bet whoever that individual was at Airport Kia, that's what they saw in you.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's so many times that people go in this like, oh, you got to create a resume and you got to have this experience. You got to this from someone that hires. And I bet you do the same thing. It's like, are they going to put in the time? Are they going to show up on time? Are they going to put in all of their effort and their work, right? Like, if they do that, you can mold them. You can adjust, you know, they'll learn, right?
Yeah.
And they'll probably be a really good employee or business leader, right? And I bet that's what they saw in you.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
know,
cool.
I know it's a little cliche, but like, that's what I would tell somebody, you know, starting up is work ethic. Cause people do notice.
100%.
You know,
It's very transparent.
yeah.
People try to hide it,
Yeah.
come up with an excuse to do what. No, it's so transparent.
Yeah.
So you do it or you don't.
Yep.
You know, and you say it's cliche, but it's not, because how many times do you get on your phone right now and it's like, do you want to become a millionaire by selling e-commerce? Do you want to do this? Or, you know, like, follow these 4 steps to start your business, right?
Yeah.
Is it really 4 steps? Is it really take an hour? Does it really, you know, it's not, not, it's all like fake, right? They're just, they think that's what it takes to, or they try to push, that's what it takes. And it's so incorrect. It's the hard work that actually it takes.
Yep.
So you obviously learned how to clean some cars, right?
Yeah.
Kia. You started hiring, my assumption too, because you probably couldn't do all the cars at Airport Kia
Correct.
by yourself.
Correct. Yep.
How was that journey?
Was
the hiring
one
process?
nice thing with the business model we had was we had guaranteed work no matter what. That's what I loved about it. I loved the volume. I was never going to be slow. So hiring was not really a huge issue back then. It is now. It is harder to find people to work now. But
Why do you think that's it? Why do you think it's so difficult?
that's a tough question. That really is.
I'm struggling with it.
Yeah.
Business owners I talk to every day struggling with it. I think it's an economy thing. I think it's a little bit of, they got spoiled maybe during COVID, a few of those things, right? Maybe it's just a combination of a lot, but I was curious on what people's thoughts on that, because it's a very real problem.
Yeah. Yep. No, it definitely is.
I feel like a lot of people just don't want to work now, but
Yeah.
hey, you obviously still have found people, because how many staff and employees do you have now?
We have roughly 65 full-time employees.
60. That's impressive.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
29 years old. You're running a very successful business with your brother. Obviously, I believe you got your spouses involved in different things, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of a family, which I love.
Everyone kind of pitches in.
Yeah. But, you know, let's talk about that, right? It did not happen overnight, right?
Correct,
You really,
yeah.
you put in the effort, right? So talk a little bit about the stepping stones that it took to go from, hey, Airport Kia, I will outwork everyone, give me a shot, to 29 years old, right? 60 plus, you know, employees, and a beautiful showroom, right?
Yeah.
Or a beautiful shop. So tell me about
thank
that.
you. Yeah. So in 2016 is when I started the detailing company.
Okay.
In 2018 is when I realized, I saw, you know, especially Kia, and we started working at Hyundai. All these cars were getting sent to get window tint done. And that's when it kind of clicked in my head, like, man, what if we started a window tint company? And that's what I did. In 2018, I opened up a very small shop and started tinting, not only for the dealerships, but to the public as well. And that's when things really got hard, is when that first leap of jumping into something that, you know, it's, you know, from the outside looking in, it's like, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to work. Well, it didn't quite work that way. There was plenty of times where, you know, I was scared to, you know, even be in business anymore. You know, it was, you know, making that payroll and you know, there was really, really hard times when we first opened.
When you say first open, you were talking about more the tinting side, right?
Yeah,
Was
well,
the
you know,
detailing still
that's
kinda
when we
rolling?
started hire. We needed to hire a experienced window tinter,
Right.
right? So we were probably paying more than we should because I didn't know anything about window tinting.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to hire an experienced guy, and the work wasn't there. So that was tough. That was tough. That was really rough times for me.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because they get pitched, something, or they get that idea because that's in their blood that I should start this, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always greener. It's not always better to have a lot. It's sometimes better to stick in your lane. Obviously, it worked out for you, right? And so you started the tinting side of it, right? And then what happened after that?
Yeah. So we started building more relationships with more dealerships because the work's there, right? We got Audi and Volkswagen of Naples. We had Kia, Hyundai. That's what really kept us afloat. And as we continue to build our brand, obviously we had more customers, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And really, that's the thing. That was our biggest thing, was brand awareness. If we're tinting brand new cars for the dealerships and they see our logo, they see what we're, who's actually doing the work, that's going to build our brand that, how we want to.
Right.
Right.
So you talk about brand a little bit, right? And we've talked a lot about that on some of these podcasts. That's a critical thing, right?
Yeah.
It takes time and it takes energy to get to that point. What are some of the keys to success from your industry, right, and your mentality as a business owner that has been super critical to creating a good brand?
That's a great question. Another kind of cliche thing is customer service, right? But we do take pride in that. It's very important. There's 50 other tint shops in Naples. Maybe not 50, but there's a lot. And, for us to build as big as we are, we needed that edge. We needed that edge of, we're going to take care of our customers. I'm not saying we're perfect. We're not. We made mistakes. We've made plenty of mistakes, over the years and stuff like that. But we owned up to it.
Yeah.
We do the right thing. And that,
It's not cliche, by the way, because I'm so glad you said that, because I think actually this town, Midwest, it was more normal. I feel like this town, there's so many people that come in, they try to make a buck, they don't treat customers correctly. They're like, oh, there's 8,000 other millionaires. Like, I'm going to be fine. Like, I can piss off a few. I know my value. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like, how quick do they go out of business? Right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like,
and sometimes I even like the challenge of a customer that's unhappy. What can we do to make that customer come back and be a lifelong customer?
Right.
We've had plenty of customers like that. So that was always fun. That was always fun to me.
Yeah, like having that feedback, right? Criticism, right? I love it, right? Like if you can improve and it can help, you and your business and your staff or whatever, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, we try not to make mistakes, but we're all gonna make mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the key right there, is what you said, is like, how do you handle?
How do you make it right?
I have obviously the blessing of talking with a ton of realtors, and they always say that same thing. Every deal is different. Something's going to go wrong. It's how do you handle that with your client? How do you overcome it? Right. I think from an entrepreneur standpoint, people need to understand that. They need to say to themselves, it's not going to go perfect and it's going to be nothing but problems, but let's utilize those problems to learn, and let's make that the challenge. And each day is, all right, I'm gonna get problems today. Right. It's just a matter of which problems am I gonna get, and how am I gonna handle it?
Yeah. I mean, we deal with 10,000 cars a month, not only, dealing with customers as well and dealerships and stuff like that, but, accidents are going to happen. So we try to do the right thing, essentially, and become better. Yeah.
Where do you see now, in a sense, where do you see kind of the next progression? Obviously my knowledge of you and knowing you, you're always thinking, right? You're always pondering, you're always getting, thinking kind of that next step. So, obviously you built a great business, admired business, a lot of, reputable dealerships in town are utilizing you guys. It's kind of that next step you're thinking.
So we've always, for a long time, thought, how big can we possibly get? How great can we possibly get? The biggest and best right now. I think we've gotten to a point where we want to perfect our craft. And that's kind of where we're at. We grew so fast and so big over these last year and a half, really. That's when we took that huge leap. And now my main focus is to let's perfect our craft. And that's kind of where we're at.
So quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking maybe specific dealerships. You kind of work a little bit more, and I know you're doing it for the Porsche Naples, different things like that. So you're maybe elevating kind of with the price point of the vehicles or the value of the vehicles a little bit, or bigger jobs. Like, what do you mean by that?
It's not really any of that. It's focus on what we have in front of us. Instead of it's not that we're spread thin. I think we have the right people in place. But I think we can always be better. So instead of continuing to grow and see how fast we can grow, it's like, no, let's take this is the first time ever in the company actually that we're like, you know what, let's sit back. Let's honestly let's reap the benefits a little bit. Let's, because we were always continuing to dump more and more money into it to become the biggest and become the best. Which I think we've accomplished what we've wanted to accomplish. But now it's let's take a step back. Let's perfect our craft. Let's, any sort of issues that we have within the company, let's fix it. Let's make it a smooth running machine. So that's kind of where we're at in the company. A lot more
systematizing.
Yeah, exactly.
And efficiency, right?
Exactly. Efficiency. There's a lot of things that we could always be better with.
And people always try to grow, right? And don't get me wrong, growth is great and it's critical for a lot of businesses. But like if you're more efficient with the people you have, you could increase 20, 30%, bottom line.
Correct.
And have no more people and no more headache, right?
Yeah. Bigger doesn't always mean better. Bigger doesn't always mean, more money. I think, you're probably aware of that as well.
And more money, more problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. The thing is, it's like, and it allows you also get a grasp on it. Yeah. I feel like sometimes like entrepreneurs go, and they like the famous, you're working in the business rather than what you need to do, which is working on the business.
Sure.
You said step back and reap the benefits, and it's like, you got to do that. You have to step back sometimes and look at a holistic standpoint.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll love that. So tell me, obviously, how is it working with your brother?
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. We have such a good relationship.
Good.
Neither one of us are my way or the highway type of guys.
That's good. Yeah.
So like we can sit down and have a conversation and, if he wants it one way and he's, he thinks it's going to be the best, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. If I think of, a different way, I'm going to let him do his thing. And if it fails, it's like, all right, let's try my way, or vice versa.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where I said, let's do it this way, and it hasn't worked. And that's the type of relationship that I wouldn't have just gone into business with anybody. Right. But that's why it works with us is because neither one of us are pumping our chest saying like, no, it has to be this way.
Well, and I asked that because a lot of people can't do business with family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a realistic thing, and it can cause a lot of tension, right? Obviously, you guys, I've met you both, and you guys have a great relationship, and I love that, right? And so, what's your advice if people are going to be, I mean, you kind of did a little bit, but advice for people that, might get into business with family or friends?
99% of the time, I'd say don't do it. Don't do it.
For what reason? What sole reason?
I've had to fire family before.
Yeah.
Multiple times. It's not what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
You might, it's always the outside looking in like, we can make this work. And you really got to know, you don't know until you do it, essentially. It worked out with Drake and I.
Yeah.
And I foresee it being great, in the future and stuff like that, but I don't recommend it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're out there and you're listening, there you go. Cause a lot of people do. And like especially, I work a lot with the real estate world. A lot of people are like, well, I could do this, or my significant other could do this, and compliment it. It's like, yeah, we did a couples issue, right? And it was all the husband and wives, and I just like, mad props to you guys. You guys are, literally do everything together, business together, life together, family together.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's incredible, right? It really is. But it's tough for a lot of people.
I've seen some horror stories with that kind of stuff, and I hate to see it because family is more important than business.
Yeah. You don't choose your family.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Like the family is it's yours, and you can't get new family, right?
Yeah.
You can go find a different business partner. You can find a new investor. You can find a new whatever, right? There's how many billions and trillions of people, right? There's people out there that you could find, but you can't choose a new family.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's a critical one to think about and process before people make that leap and journey.
Yep.
So, tell me about your family personally. Are you engaged or
I'm
married?
engaged.
Okay.
I'm engaged.
I was like, I couldn't stat. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool.
And we've got 2 little girls.
There you go.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
What ages?
4 and almost 2. So 2 young.
Yeah.
2 young
Any
girls. More? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm honestly kind of nervous about having 3 girls. If I knew it was gonna be a boy, I think we'd have no problem doing it like now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little nervous with 3 girls.
Blame you. I'd be in the same spot.
Yeah.
Is that your why?
What's that?
Is that your why? Like, is that why you're pushed? Like, because of the family, the 2 little girls?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I really do. I picture them. Not that they have to, but an opportunity to run DC Auto Pros in the future. You know what I mean? I don't. I look up to that.
Well, you said it about your father, right? You said how you looked up to your father. So my assumption is you push pretty hard probably for them to look up to you, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably a lot of your, motivation.
Well, he always told me growing up, he always said, "Don't be like me." And I never really understood why he said that. But the point he was getting across was, he works so much and not even really get to see his family, because working that much. But it was, if you're going to work that hard, work for yourself.
Right.
And that is advice that I want to give, the public here is, if you are going to work that hard, that was a good, how do I want to put that?
If you get, working for someone else is great in a lot of ways because then you get time off, you have salary, you have benefits. Like, there's a lot of benefits there, right?
Yeah.
Like, pun intended. But like, it fits the mold for people, right? Yeah. Maybe it's, I want to work during these days because then I can enjoy this with my family or whatever. Yeah. When you work for yourself, you're never off, right? Correct. But at the same time, you have the flexibility a lot of the times. Like, so it's kind of a,
it's a double-edged sword a little bit.
100%, right? Yeah. But at least if you're going to grind out 16-hour days, right, you should be reaping the benefits. I think a lot of people now, and I don't like this in the world, in the whatever you want to call it, society, is that they're expected to grind 16 hours a day for a base salary with no room to kind of grow.
Yeah.
It's like those positions I hate, and it's like, at least if you're in a salaried position or you're in a corporate, let's say, structure and you're grinding 16 hours, there better be a way for you to grow, right? Sure. Within that or bonuses or something, right? Yeah. There's gotta be something, definitely. Right? Because it kind of goes back to what you're saying, right? You work 16 hours, your dad worked all that stuff, grind. At what expense?
Correct.
Because the only thing we can't get back is time.
Yep. That's
what we all trade for.
Yeah. It's a scary thought, really.
Right? We're always trading time for money, right? And we're always, we're at the end of the thing, everything comes back to time. Yeah. Because it's like, well, if I gave you $10 million, would you take that if you knew you only had, a week to live? Yeah.
I heard that. And it really does make you think, would you, I know I wouldn't.
No.
I know what, I don't think
Right?
anybody really would. So, you know, how important is money when it comes to time,
Right.
you know?
And then, I mean, the reverse is very important to understand that, like, the money is giving you time, right? So if you work really hard to get the money can get you, let's say, another staff member to give you your time back or whatever, right? Gives you the flexibility, or you work hard long enough, you can retire to get the time and stuff like that.
I mean, I
You
think
never know.
that's essentially the goal, right? Is the freedom. I always thought that way, as I was going to work really, really, really hard, you know, to what age? Let's say, you know, mid 40s, right? Hopefully that's, you know, and then I can reap the benefits of, you know, my hard work.
But it's sad because it's like, when are you in your prime? When's your
Exactly.
body great?
Yeah.
When is it like this? You know, it's like it's a, you know, it is tough because it's like, I want to work hard now so that I can enjoy later. But at the same time, if you don't enjoy now,
Correct.
and then, you know, you are 50, 60, and maybe you're struggling with something health wise, you wasted all your good years, as they say,
Sure.
you know, grinding and working. Like, my dad passed away mid 60s, 66 years old. You know, he just kind of retired, sold his business, thinking he was going to enjoy, hang out, you know, in Florida here with mom, right? And his health declined and he passed away. And it's like, so if you looked at his life and his probably mentality towards it, which, you know, no one would fault him for it. He worked really hard. He created a business. He, you know, ran that business, successful business, saved up, raised an amazing family, all that kind of stuff. And then literally sold it, retired, right, for a little bit. His health declined, you know, within a couple of years, and then passed away. And so it's like, for what? You know? So I think, like, people need to stop and really, like, look at the big picture. That, not saying you should go splurge and spend all your money and not be smart about it, right? Because there is a future. You're probably not going to die tomorrow, right? There is always a chance, right? So it's like, live a little, save a little bit, have that good balance.
That's one thing that I need to look myself in the mirror and tell myself that, you know,
Balance is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do a decent job at it. You're raising, obviously, family and stuff like that. So it's tough, though.
Yeah, it helps. You know, she's a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, I always wanted.
Right.
I always wanted that. I want our family to, I don't want to send them to daycare.
Yeah.
You know, eventually they will, I'm sure. But, you know, I take pride in being able to do that for the family.
Right.
Cause
I love that. I mean, you know, and the thing is, culturally, sometimes they're like, you know, they push hate or discrimination or whatever. You know what? Everyone's different. And especially every family is different. If that's what you and your wife want for the family, then that's what you should do. You know what I mean? I think that's amazing.
It was that way growing up.
Yeah.
You know, with my mom.
Yeah.
And I thought that played a huge impact on my life.
Yeah.
So I wanted the same for our kids.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
So obviously your journey has helped you to get to where you're at. There's been a lot of struggles. I want to say thank you, and I appreciate you coming on to share those struggles and those journeys, because Instagram or where they see someone, it's kind of that end finish line. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot that leads up to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like telling somebody you're lucky, you know, that word is funny to me, but they don't understand what it took, to get where, you know, where
what
I am
takes
today.
To get, you know, and luck is not, you're not luck. You put in the work, you were there, you showed up, right? That's how you get lucky, by putting in the work, right?
Yeah, sure.
It's so true. Yeah, it's to people out there, like, obviously you got to grind, you got to put in the work, and prove to people, right? Like, time after time, prove to people you will outwork them, you'll outperform, because at the end of the day, that's what shows, right? And so if you're trying to win over that client, you're trying to win over that person, that let's say employee or employer or whatever it is, right? Just keep pushing. So, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Thank you again for this past event. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom. You know, a lot of people have an idea to start a small business, and a lot of people do, right? They start small. I hope at least that people will take away that you also were very intentional. Like, you had a goal in mind when you started DC Auto Pros, right? Like, it was a goal of, I want to work for the dealerships and whatnot. So I hope people understand that don't just go into a business and have no intent behind it and no plan of action, right? And so appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And that event again was amazing.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can do some again in the future. And looking forward to it.
Good. And so, a plug for you guys. If you guys need anything, they do detailing, but obviously it's more to that highest level. You guys are doing PPF and ceramic coating and different things like that. And wraps, right?
Yeah, we
Shout
do wraps.
out there.
Yeah.
They're helping my mom. My mom got a new car. She doesn't like the colors.
We're excited about that
getting
one.
that one wrapped up and everything like that. So if you guys need anything, obviously reach out to them. They'll help you out and take care of you guys.
Awesome.
So,
well, thanks so much, Andrew.
appreciate it so much. We'll see you guys on the next episodes.